Hi. Okay, so I just got out of the shower and I don't, am I? Okay, no, I'm not muted. I just got out of the shower. I've got to go to a meeting in a little bit. I am not ready, so we're gonna get ready together. Um, but while I do that, I'm basically going to keep kind of talking about the situation I was covering last night as it relates to the She Evolves live event. Last night, I really focused on it with more of a deaf perspective as it relates to my reaction on the altercation, with those social issues. And today, what I want to do is just kind of revisit it from a sales perspective and kind of look at the website and their Instagram and just kind of discuss it again a little bit from a sales perspective and from the context of collaborating with an event host and some legalities, in my opinion, that I've kind of thought of since then. Um, and basically, just to kind of ramble about some things that I thought of afterwards, like one of the things that I thought of after, and some of the comments that I saw on TikTok, people, in my opinion, seem to have been judging Holly for announcing that she was removed from the event, as if that itself was what was starting drama, but I don't believe it was. And I do believe if you're no longer part of an event that you've announced yourself to be a part of, you do have to tell people, when you're no longer a part of it, because it is, it would be false advertising to act like you're still part of an event that you're not part of. And it would be very problematic, not to announce that. So I don't really understand why people were judging her for that, particularly when her first few posts on it, like, literally didn't really give a whole lot of information because she wasn't trying. It didn't look like she was trying to throw anybody under the bus, in my opinion, because she could have just started off with those screenshots and everything if that's what she was really trying to do. But she didn't do that until it was a response from where Bajah was trying to push negativity onto her. So she was like, if you want to go there, let's go there. That's kind of how I took it. Um, but yeah, fucking. So I don't agree with people judging Holly for announcing, because like if you're a co-host, like you, that's, obviously you promoted a certain point, you have to announce if you're no longer a part of it. Um, so I don't think those people understand the event industry, or at least that side of it. And then as it relates to whether or not she could have had her own guest list on the spot, I have never been part of an event where the co-host did not have guest list. And you know what I mean? Like, obviously you can't have like 20, 50 fucking people on your guest list, but each person should get about 10. And you know what I mean? Like, every event I've ever been a part of that's kind of standard, like everybody involved in an event should be having part of the say when it comes to the guest list. Um, I don't know. So I thought that part was really weird. It's one thing, like say I'm doing an event and somebody's trying to bring somebody that really fucking triggers me, like my rapist or my rapist apologist or some shit. Like, to be honest, that's when I am like, yeah, no, I totally stand by like being like, nah, fuck them bitches, they're not coming, or I'm not doing this event. You know what I mean? That I get, because there is a certain level with some people you gotta protect your space, and so there are times where I do think it's okay to want to control who is on the list, because I understand wanting to limit your space for safety and stuff of that nature. But whenever it's somebody trying to give access to a deaf family, and whenever you're basically being like, oh, we're not going to do access, and 3 people isn't going to be on the guest list because I want to control everything about that, that doesn't look good for you, in my opinion. But yeah. And then as it relates to, I wanted to kind of talk, because I had said yesterday that I thought they had a good sales funnel, but I didn't really talk about why. So I wanted to walk you guys through that for the purposes of just like improving marketing. So we're going to look at their website again. Um, and I'll also be talking about like how I would have handled pricing, where they were discussing like price increases and the bundling of their tickets and all of that. I'm going to discuss how I would have handled that personally. Um, and also, I'm trying to process still. Like, this isn't something I've processed. I don't know what the fuck it is. And it's also something I don't have the back end information to know. That's something they know, not me. But I'm also confused as to the issues with like the ticket sales versus the sold out versus the guest list discrepancies. With all of that, where they were saying they were sold out, then they were saying they were not sold out, then they were saying let's raise the prices and open it up again. In those messages, if I understood all of that correctly, if I processed that correctly. I do have some issues with all of that, you know, with, particularly when it comes to good faith advertising and providing results for the price and everything of that nature. Um, the top of this thing broke off of it, so it's coming out weird. But I'm using just a little bit of airwhip foam shit mousse from John Frieda. But yeah, so I don't know. I just feel like the pricing of the event isn't something I fully understand, as someone who has thrown events and as someone who does pricing. So I kind of wanted to walk through that as well and just like my thoughts on that as we go through the website. And I also want to talk about Bajah's bio on the website and things of that nature. So I'm gonna roll my intro and then I'm gonna keep doing my hair and keep rambling about this shit. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you. Where's my intro at? Marco. Here we go. Hi, my name is Alexis, also known as Lexi or Deaf Child. I was born deaf, hard of hearing. I began doing business as Deaf Child 2013, marketing 2011, sales 2009. I've earned 50 plus certifications in marketing and sales. My Bachelor of Science from Loyola University, New Orleans, with a music industry studies major and a business administration minor. Deafness runs in my family genetically. Speech is not fully accessible to me. Anyway, I'm here to bitch about whatever the fuck is on my mind. So here we go. Visit my site at noladeafchild.com. Okay, so my part is not going to be good today, but that's fine. Fuck it. I'm going to do a schmiddle part. So basically, to kind of start off with this situation, I'm about to just show you the website and we're just going to ramble as we go today. But I just wanted to say I am not going to recap everything in this live stream because I haven't processed it enough to give you a good recap, first of all. But I did link like a 20-30 minute summary on this entire event situation in the description of this video. That's by Marky. That's the short version of the summary of what happened. And then also, and the reason it's so long is because Holly's response video was 30 minutes in and of itself. So considering how long that was and how much information there was to get through, I feel like Marky probably condensed it as much as you might be able to in this situation. But so there's that shorter version there, and then my long ass reaction, it's like over 4 hours to this situation. Well, part of that live stream was about something else too, but whatever. My reaction is also linked, and that's much longer, in the description of this video, so you can go watch the full thing or the recaps there to get the story if you don't know the context of this. But I'm assuming if you're watching this, you probably do know the context, so whatever. But anyway, so let's actually get into the website here. Oh fuck, I forgot to pull up this I forgot to pull this up. That's my bad. Apologies. I have I keep like a draft for content I want to do on YouTube or whatever in my email, and I was trying to pull up another screen. I accidentally pulled that one up. Oopsie. Okay. But yeah, that's just kind of like anytime I have, and another thing, you know, before we keep going on that though, people are always asking me like, how do I think of so much to talk about? Like, how do I always have content to talk about? But really, like, anytime I think of something that I do want to talk about related to social issues, I put it in my email and I just save it as a draft and I just have a list. So I basically always have an ongoing list of topics to talk about. So anytime I want to go live, I just go live about what I want to go about in the moment. Or if there's not something specific I want to go live about in the moment, then I just pick from the list of topics that I've already done and I can go live about that if, you know, I want to go live. So that's what I do for myself, and it also just kind of gives me talking points. Like anytime I think of something that I wish I had talked about in a previous live stream or something like that, or if I think of talking points related to a situation or an altercation, I might fucking diffuse this. I know it defeats the purpose of a heatless curl, but I only have a small amount of time before my next meeting, so I might have to diffuse this shit. Anyway, but yeah, fucking, I just feel like it's good to list and to document, what it is that you are thinking of talking about whenever you're creating content, because that way you never not have something to go after. And I feel like a lot of people, they actually think of a lot of things they probably do want to go live about, but they don't write it down. And so then whenever they want to go live, they don't know what to go live about because they didn't write down the ideas they had when they had them. And that used to be me. Like, I used to always be thinking of shit I would want to go live about, but I wouldn't ever go live. And then when I wanted to go live, I couldn't think of or remember the thing I wanted to go live about. And so because of that, I just try to write down shit, and that helps me basically never not have content to go live on. So anyway, back to this. The website. So the reasons that I think that it is a good sales funnel flow, everything about it is all the buttons takes you either to the sales checkout page for the most part, or it takes you to a contact form to get involved in the event. And when your flow is set up that way, like, you never basically have to click more than 3 buttons or so to check out. And when you reduce the obstacles it takes to check out in this way, you are more likely to get people to check out. So, a lot of people, they don't have like a 3-step flow. Instead, they will have like all of these other pages to go through, or they'll have too many buttons, I think. And sometimes when people have too much information or too much to do, they're less likely to take a single action. And it can be a good thing to have all of those buttons when you want people to have access to information, but when you want people to buy something, then typically the less distractions there are from that goal, the more likely they are to do it. So to that regard, I would say the website is pretty good in terms of a sales funnel setup. It's particularly related to 3 steps for the checkout system. That part is when I was saying yesterday they had a good sales funnel. That was what was standing out to me in the moment, but I don't feel like I articulated that because I was so focused on like the social issue of this aspect with the deaf content. But yeah, so that's where I was thinking about that there. My problems with the wording are mostly related to the copy here, but I kind of touched on that in my live stream last night. I was kind of making fun of it being about like corporate buzzwords rather than actual impact. But that's kind of it. Some people were claiming they thought that the writing was AI. I don't believe it's AI because AI doesn't have the human context to write subjectively, and a lot of the information here isn't objective. It seems to come from a biased perspective, in my opinion. And yeah, so I would say I think it's definitely corporate buzzword spin regurgitation. But because it's, I don't know. And another thing is, it's for the girls who are becoming. A lot of women aren't going to identify as a girl. And some do. Like, some women, it's always like, like, girls just want to have fun. Like, that vibe is always going to be an energy. Like, but it's more of like, also, a lot of women, they don't see themselves as a girl anymore. They see that as a fanalization. But then girlhood is part of being a woman too, if that makes sense. So, but I don't know. But I feel like, yeah, that. And then when you look at the pictures on the website, where are the pictures from? If these are previous events that the host has done, or if it's photos from the vendors that they plan on having there, that makes sense. But whenever I see an event that has never happened before with photos on their website to represent their event, I feel like it's a misrepresentation because you're saying this is what we want to be, not what we are. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be a millionaire, but I'm not. So, but just because I want to be a millionaire doesn't mean I should post myself as a millionaire, because that's quite fake now, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? And so I think to a level, it's not wrong to want to advertise the services as you are going to hire them, when you know you put in certain payments and certain forms and that you kind of guaranteed the bookings of certain things. I don't think there's anything wrong with promoting that. But whenever, we see this panel here for an event that's never occurred, what is this picture from? And how does that represent the event here that's going to happen? It doesn't. It's from something else now, isn't it? Now, I personally would use my past event photos to promote my next event, right? I've done that. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with using your past work to promote your next event, but if your past work isn't connected to the next event, then it doesn't give a representation of what that event is going to be, if that makes sense. So for example, if I don't know what this picture is from. If this picture is from an event that the host did, then my criticism goes out the window because it's valid to me of a representation, right? But if this photo, for example, is not from an event that the host hosted herself, say it's from, even if it's from an event she attended or was maybe a speaker for, but she didn't host it herself, I don't think it represents what the event could be if it's not a representation of what she's done before. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So I did notice that, and I did think about that. Another issue I had here where they go over meet the panel and speakers, you only have, how are the only 2 panelists promoted so far for a sold out event? That does kind of confuse me. That's about a month away, I feel like this should be more solidified, and I think the fact that it's not shows that the plans behind the event have not been solidified. So there is, in my opinion, a discrepancy between what is advertised and what is confirmed, if that makes sense. And I think when there is this discrepancy, you're going to have an opportunity for letting people down, and it could jeopardize yourself, because if anything happens that you can't follow through on that now people expect, it looks like false advertising. Versus if you wait until these things are confirmed and then you promote it, that if something doesn't come through, it's more rare that happens, but also it's in good faith and you can prove that you had this confirmed. For example, if you have a lineup of panelists and one of them gets sick and they can't make it, but everybody else shows up and it's just one person that got sick and couldn't come, that's normal. That's expected. It's a human condition. Nothing's going to go perfectly. But if you promote panelists and it's only you and one other woman speaking, it does look as if you're not producing on what you promised, if that makes sense. And it's not to negate the efforts of 2 women who are speaking could be for a panel, but it's more of to say, typically when people reflect on a panel, they think of a variety of people. Typically when it's like 1 or 2 people, it's more of like a presentation. There's kind of like a difference in the scope there, because the purpose of a panel is to get multiple perspectives. And if it's just 1 or 2, then it's more of a conversation than a panel, But yeah, I do think a night to remember, a night to become, and She Evolves Live, like these statements could be good mantras or slogans if it had the back end to support to follow through on that. So, for example, if people showed up there and they were getting help with resume building and there was time for connection with LinkedIn, where people were getting together for LinkedIn networking, for example, and if you guys were working on a some type of journey where you're documenting your career progress, things of that nature, where you have these tangible, physical um, proof and elements to take home and say, look, I am evolving and this event helped me do it, then I think this type of rhetoric with that mindset could be something that reminds people why they went. So, in and of itself, I wouldn't say it's sketchy. But when you look at a night to remember, a night to become, like, become what, bitch? Like, I just, like, what? I don't understand. How do we need to become what we already are? I don't understand the concept of She Evolves Live. What do you mean become a woman? You already are a woman. I feel like that's infantilizing your audience. Like, if you're not here, you're not become. I don't know. I don't know. Or like the ones who are here are the ones becoming. What about the rest of us? We're still becoming some shit too. Like, it feels weird to me. But I don't know if I'm weird for overthinking that. Okay, so now as it relates to the pricing, and I'm somebody who, again, I've thrown events and I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on paying musicians for events. I have spent hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars on the sound system, on the lights, on vendors, on artists, on all of that. So I understand the pricing. However, I've never done an event where I myself priced something over 20. Usually my event ticket prices are 5 or 10. $5 pre-sale, 10 out the door. That's my go-to. And the reason being is because if I sell 50 tickets at $10, that's 500, right? If I sell 100 tickets at $10, that's 1,000, right? So in and of itself, those are low numbers, right? But if I sell those tickets to 50 or 100 people, I get them all on my contact list. And then I'm now selling my marketing services and promoting my marketing services through my email list to the people that just came and had a great time at my show. And they saw what I could do at my show. Now let me show them what I can do for them. Right? So sometimes with pricing in the event industry, we don't go into it with, let me get all of my immediate or return on ad spend or return on investment from this immediate ticket sale. Sometimes events, the way they are profitable is when you tie your profitability to something else from the event, and the event is used as a tool of marketing for you. That's the most people who profit off of events, that's how they do it. A lot of times, unless you are Beyonce, it takes a certain level of status and a certain level of experience, to get to where you're going to have profitability from a singular event. And that is because you have to build a history and you have to build the evidence of showing you can follow through on these things. So when you have as much followers, though, as these ladies, it is much easier to get people to show up, though, than someone like me. So even though on YouTube I only have like 100 subscribers, I got about 1,000 on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all of that each, right? And so when you look at it like that, you don't need a whole lot of followers to throw an event. And I think a lot of people, they don't think they can do something if not enough people are sucking their metaphorical dick or whatever, but you can. But anyway, my history with the pricing and understanding all of that, so I understand the cost of what it goes into throwing these events. And I do think just because I decided to do a model where I wasn't basing my immediate profitability on the immediate event, that doesn't mean I'm judging someone for doing so with their pricing. I think that's a good thing to do. And so if you are looking to price yourself so you're still profiting, I think that's good because you do deserve to earn for the work you do, and this is labor. But what I don't understand is how you're going to be charging people $60, $65 or more, and all that they're getting is then all that they're getting is basically being told to show up somewhere. They're gonna get a journal. They get to have their picture taken. But if it's what was advertised in this photo, then is somebody else even going to take the picture, or is it a confessional booth? I don't know. It said it's a private space to record a message to your future self or something like that. This part I don't understand. But they're basically charging people money to film themselves and get that video later. The bracelet making. So bracelets, that could go, you could spend real cheap on like basic ass beads, or you could go expensive beads, or you could go like actual gems and minerals and things of that nature. So bracelets, that could be $1, that could be $100, that could be 1,000. So that itself alone is an arbitrary concept, but realistically, how much do we expect them to spend on bracelet making? What type of bracelets are going to be? And related to the mocktails and curated small bites, I'm somebody, I have invested in catering for my events before, and I've also, I have 10 years experience as a barista. My twin has owned coffee shop in New Orleans here, Monkey on Carrollton in Cleveland when it was around. And I have a lot of experience making drinks. I know the pricing of what it goes into making mocktails. I still have my responsible vendor card for if I want to get back in the service industry. I keep that up to date. I have experience serving, catering, making these drinks, and paying for the caterers to make these drinks. I know that people like to charge like $10 or whatever for a fucking mocktail to profit whenever they are doing their individual businesses. But whenever you are pre-batching this type of shit for on the back end for catering related services, if that's how it's done, it's very cost effective. Depending on how they're doing the signature mocktails, especially if they're making it themselves, they're not going to spend a whole lot of money on that. The profit margin on mocktails is like 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like, they will literally mix together a coconut. Here, this is my virgin piña colada recipe. I call it a piña de nada because it's virgin piña colada. There's nothing in it. Piña de nada, nothing in it. Also, you're welcome. And but anyway, so it's pineapple juice. I like to make a coconut syrup. And then I like to line my rim with orange and do like a little rim, and then sometimes I'll drizzle condensed milk on top, and I like to shake it up, get it real fizzy, and it's like a coconut syrup with condensed milk with just a little drizzle on top, or to line the glass. And not for everybody. Not everybody likes condensed milk. You don't have to have it, but So I have this little virgin piña colada recipe, for example. That is cheap as fuck to make. But when I worked at a coffee shop, they would sell this. It literally didn't even cost them $2. Did not even cost them $2 in inventory. It was like $1 in inventory for them to make this product, and they sold it for 10. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, it depends here with the pricing and what you're getting out of it. It's going to be up to the individual people that actually go to decide whether or not it was worth it for them to spend $60 on getting their picture taken, a bracelet, a drink, and all of that, and a goodie bag. I think that's going to depend on what the value put into these offers are. But on face level, the items and the pricing is not matching up for me personally. And I do understand the variation possible there. Now, next up, I just want to highlight, if you click inspect and you inspect these elements, let's see here. I feel like, so when I hover over here, you see how it kind of shows a transparency with the frame here. With there's like a background, and it's got the image is in the shape of basically like a U kind of, and the background is clear. So from this, I believe they are using something such as Canva to download these images in a frame, download it with a transparent background, and then upload it into Squarespace. I know for a fact they're using Squarespace for their website, because when you view the page source code, it goes there. Right here, you can see the squarespace.com in the code for the website here. So I can see that. I believe they're using Canva and Squarespace to design this, because I do not believe that Squarespace has these I just used the word, now I'm forgetting it, but what is the shape called that you put a picture in? Fuck it, I don't know. But I don't think that you can make the picture this shape in Squarespace like this. I think they fucking did Canva, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why I'm thinking about that, but whatever. So to me though, I think it kind of speaks to like how, I don't know, like the curation of it, I guess. It speaks to the curation. There's more focus here on a design aesthetic than on the data entry, in my opinion. But so when you look at the about page here, though, the about portion of this section, Bajah was really wording it, the girl behind She Involves. And it says, Bajah Abdi is creator and founder dedicated to helping women step into the highest version of themselves. Across TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, she built a community of over 500,000 women who are ready to grow, heal, and evolve. Through storytelling, self-development, and intentional living, she guides women toward their fullest potential. She Evolves Live is her first in-person experience, a transformational space for women to reconnect with themselves, reset their spirit, and step boldly into their next era. I think if she talked about her credentials, that maybe it would be a little, and her history with how she has successfully executed on this vision, then that would kind of give her more credibility. But when you look at, like, I've never seen an event where the event host is sitting there making it about themselves. To a point, musicians will, because that's the point. You're going there for the musician. And so they will let you know about them, get you to understand their style of music, so you can determine if that style of music is something you enjoy or not, right? But so to a point, I think it is good to let people know who is running the show. It's transparency. It is making sure that they are aligned with where they're going. But on another level, I've never seen an event centered around women empowerment that is promoting a single woman as the only as what is empowering others. I don't think woman empowerment is about saying that a single woman is the source of other women's empowerment. I don't think that's empowering. I think that's kind of a woman trying to take credit for if other women feel empowered or not, you know? Woman empowerment is about women finding empowerment from themselves and each woman being empowered, in my opinion. I don't think that you can have a woman's empowerment movement and then be talking about how you're why they are empowered. That seems like it's not about women's empowerment, but it's about your superiority, in my opinion. Because women's empowerment comes from within. So yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. It's like, okay, it's like if I were pitching you my marketing services and I wasn't sitting here letting you know, like, I have 16 years experience in marketing and sales. I have 8 years experience actually running ads. Previously to that, my experience was related to street team marketing as well as social media management, as well as selling merchandise at shows and being a brand ambassador. Within about 8 years ago, I got really into running ads, building funnels, and wanting to understand profitability. And at that point, I began training with Depeche Mandalia as well as Common Thread Collective and Your Admission Co. And I took their trainings and teachings and I was able to apply that to my clients. So then I was able to manage budgets with $250,000 a month. I have closed millions and millions of dollars of closed contracts, and I am happy to provide you my references so you can go check that yourself. Now, does that seem like I have credential for you? Would you trust that? Would you at least be interested in checking my references if I let you know that? You might at least want to look at my references, right? But if I just sit here and I say, yeah, I do marketing, I'm going to lead you into the future. I'm empowering and let me help you get to your fullest potential. Do you want to go still check out my references? Do y'all see that difference? Do you know what I mean? I think there's nothing wrong with summarizing your ability to execute in this way because not everybody gives a fuck about the details. Not everybody cares about the stats. Some people, their eyes are going to glaze over when you start talking about your marketing budget. But so for some people, you do need this type of words to reach them because that's what they care about. They don't care about how much money you spend. They care about the vision, right? And so that's what this wording can reach. But for people like me, if you're not providing the evidence, like these are testimonials from people who I have personally helped through my coaching courses, or here are the number of book sales I made on my self-help improvement book. You know, if you don't have some facts like that for me and you're just hitting me with the buzzwords, then I'm like, okay, where is the tangibility here? And it feels like a discrepancy between reality and promotion, you know, and that should be in alignment. Your promotion should always match your reality, you know. So yeah, and I think that was probably just about it in terms of some of the main criticisms I have. I think of all of this, like I could really, you know, probably look at here and bitch about it more all day because y'all know I don't shut the fuck up. But I think you get the fucking point. I will say I've been thinking with the discrepancy on the sold out aspect though. So from what I remember, they were saying that it was a spot for 300 people. That was who they were planning on coming, and then they were saying over and over and over again that they sold out, if I'm understanding correctly. And then they were claiming, oh, but we're not actually sold out. Let's raise the prices and add more tickets. That part right there, I do not understand. You're either sold out or you're not. There's no, unless you decide, okay, we're going to get another venue, or, so for example, I've done events at the Howlin' Wolf, and you can rent different rooms there. And so, you know, things of that nature. Perhaps it could be like, oh, we added more tickets because we're going to add more space. If there was something like that, or add more time to the event, so that way there's more opportunity for people to flow through, or things like of that nature. When the other, unless there's some resource or logistics to back up the ticket sales, like you tell me something's sold out, and then you come out trying to sell more for it, now you've lost me. Now you've lost me, because was it or was it not sold out, bitch? Or is that just marketing? Is that you just trying to create a false sense of demand when there is none? You know what I mean? And so that's where I'm like, y'all lost me with that, but I don't, so now it's like, I want to believe them on face value that if they sold out, that's an amazing thing. But because of that conversation, now I don't fucking believe if it's sold out or not. Like, I'm so confused. So yeah, and then I also wanted to check out, I was looking at their Instagram, and you can see, on her highlights from She Evolves Live on Instagram, she had made a statement, and it says, due to unforeseen circumstances, we've had a few internal shifts. The vision, programming, and experience I've been preparing remain exactly the same, and I'm more committed than ever to make December 27th a powerful, transformational night for all of us. As a reminder, Tickets are non-refundable. However, if this update impacts your ability to attend or changes how you feel about the event in any way, I'm more than happy to offer a refund. To request one, just send an email to hello@sheevolveslive.com and we'll take care of you. So here's the thing. Legally, it is true that if you have a no refund policy for a specific offer, then legally you do not have to refund on that offer. Okay, legally. Even, you know what I mean? Right. But if you offer someone something and then that offer changes, right, even if you have a no refund policy, if you are no longer providing on the same offer, that is you negating the contract first. You have to keep the offer to keep the no refund policy. If it's a different offer, then they didn't pay for that. That is false advertisement. You cannot offer someone one thing, say no refunds, change the offer, and then refuse a refund. So I don't know what she thinks she's doing with this whole, like, I think she feels like she's, like, I feel like she worded that to be like, it's not my policy, but out of the goodness of my heart, I'll still give you one. It's not all the goodness of your heart, bitch. That's legally obligated. Like, you know what I mean? Or I don't know if I'm wrong for thinking that, but that's like how I take it. Like, that's, what? You know what I mean? You can't just, okay, I have a no refund policy on work completed, and I do use my consultations. You pay for the consultation, that deposit is no refund. That's because I used to have people no-showing on me all the damn time and wasting my fucking time. But ever since I started implementing that policy, they show up. It's delightful. It saves my time, saves your time. We're all happy. And you can reschedule. You're just not getting that money back. You paid for that consultation. You know what I mean? But if you pay me to run ads for you, for example, and I run ads for you for a month, but I don't run ads for you for the other 2 months, then I'm going to refund you for the 2 months I didn't do the work for if you prepaid me, theoretically, right? Like, I don't refund on work I did, and I don't refund on a labeled deposit for that reason. But other than that, it's like, if I didn't do the work, I'm going to refund you. Like, why would I keep money for something I didn't earn? You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then it's also like, I can't take somebody's money because I don't want to execute anymore. So I'm transitioning from execution services offered to consulting only. So I can't just be taking people's money to execute for them and then decide I'm not executing anymore, I'm doing consultations only, and I'm not giving you your money back. What? No. So this rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know if it's because I'm self-projecting my own shit onto it, but it just really did. It rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know how anybody else feels about it. But yeah. And the only post she's got on here, basically, it's, you know, saying a night for the girls, stepping into who they're meant to be. And it says Minneapolis, Minnesota, December 27th, 2025, She Evolved Lives or some shit like that. And it says girls only 18 plus. I do think it's interesting that they're saying 18 plus but calling it girls only. I think that is an infantilization of womanhood, in my opinion. I do think that girlhood is part of womanhood because part of being a woman is addressing your inner child and your girlhood. But I do think it's interesting how they're talking about maturing into womanhood and becoming and evolving, yet they market it for girls only. I feel that sets like a... I haven't processed why it rubs me wrong, but I just feel like it sets a tone as if they are marketing this event to young ladies who may not feel empowered yet. I think that can take advantage of vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? I think marketing to girls who may not feel empowered as a woman is a vulnerable place to be versus marketing to women as their most empowered selves and encouraging them that way. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Whatever. But a lot of people are being like, how do I get my refund? This does not sound like women empowerment on the price. And people are saying that she was weird for wanting to, that someone was weird for wanting to go after what Bajah did. Um, and so previously, like a week ago, the comments were pretty positive. Um, and oh, damn, somebody said, shame on your mother for raising a scammer. Let's leave her mom out of it. Let's leave the. Here's what I hate. Sometimes, okay, you know what? Sometimes it is relevant, right? For example, with the Gypsy Rose Blanchard situation, I'm gonna keep talking about her mom. You know why? Because she killed her fucking mom. So I kind of understand sometimes when you do bring family into it because it is fucking relevant, man. But in a situation like this, unless her mom has some history of scamming that I don't know about, which where we could say, oh, she learned it from her, then I would understand bringing her up. But if her mom doesn't have anything to do with this, leave her out of it. I feel like when people bring your family into bullshit, that, like, I don't like that. Don't even do that. Like, I think Bajah was ableist as fuck to deaf community, but who knows? Maybe that was something she learned from her mom. Maybe it was. But at the same time, if I don't know their family history or I don't have any information to see about that, I think it's fucked up for me to place assumptions onto her family because her mom could have raised her better than this and her mom could be upset with her for this, you know? But at the same time, we don't know if her mom's upset with her or if her mom is like her. So, you know, we shouldn't be placing those projections on her. If something else ever does come out about her mom and people want to talk on it from there, I understand. But I don't think that when someone does something wrong, you should go apply that to the rest of the family. Like, focus on the person that did the wrong thing and focus on the issue at hand. You know what I mean? So, whatever. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I guess comments like this are why people are all like, oh, Bajah's being bullied. But whatever. I understand why someone may have felt so angered to leave that comment as well. But yeah, so I think it's interesting because it celebrates growth, womanhood, and community, but it's for girls only, right? So I do think that a lot of the writing kind of isn't in alignment with each other. And also, if you notice, I feel like she added this vision board real late because oopsie, I accidentally made that go away. Because damn, I don't know how that happened. Oh, fuck it. Technical difficulties. Whatever, I'm gonna end this bitch. What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I think she added that vision board real quick because if you look at the title of it, it says Gallery 3 here. So she didn't rename it or whatever for SEO purposes and just for general aesthetic purposes. So I feel like this isn't something that was done with a lot of effort. It was not something, like, you know what I mean? She was claiming in her videos that she's put so much work into this, but in my opinion, it looks like she slapped some bullshit together from Canva. It looks very rushed. It looks very quick. It doesn't look like it was professionally done, in my opinion. But that might be me being biased because I have a history of doing web development. So for me, I could do things much quicker than she probably could. So that could also be like a skill issue, you know, like if she's not, if she doesn't have a history in web development and doesn't know how to do it, she may have thought that what she did, maybe she did spend a lot of time picking out fonts or something, but I feel like, I don't know, that website doesn't look like something that a lot of time was put into, in my opinion. It looks very rushed because you didn't even change or update the metadata on it. So, but yeah, I guess that's kind of my ramble today about this situation. Just to sum it up, basically, we were talking a little bit about why I thought the sales funnel was good for the site, particularly as it related to the 3-step needed typically for a call to action to get people to follow through. I found that the way that they did that, I think that it was really good with reducing obstacles that it takes to get people to purchase. So I do think they did a really good job with their sales flow, with the steps that the user takes to get through it. I don't like a lot of the wording on the site because it rubs me the wrong way. I think that if there was tangible proof in the website or in the data to show the reality of the vision, then I would feel more aligned with the words. But because it looks like none of the aesthetic matches anything that she's ever executed herself, and it looks like she's advertising things that may not be confirmed, those types of issues for me seem problematic, and why the site rubs me the wrong way and why the words do. I'm still confused with the issue here with the ticket sales, where they claimed it was sold out and then they were trying to add more tickets without having more space to do so while denying the deaf people access. That still bothers the fuck out of me. And then the refunds issue, like she was basically trying to word her highlight like, oh, I don't have to give you a refund, but I will if you want one. Like, no, you legally do have to refund people if you offer them something and you don't follow through on that offer. If you did provide the offer that you said you were going to provide, then legally you do not have to offer a refund if you have a no refund policy. But legally, if your offer changes and they purchase one offer, but that offer, what you're going to deliver on, is now different than that, what they purchased, then you do owe them their money back. Like, what the fuck? That's not some bullshit out the goodness of your heart. That's what you have to do by law. And so yeah, and the bio on her site, I don't think I fully processed why that threw me off so much, but yeah, that was like, it just felt very self-centered, no? In the name of woman empowerment. And I don't understand if the pricing of the event is going to align with what the audience will actually be able to receive out of it. But perhaps it could. That is pure speculation. The only way to find out is to actually go. And so the people who go will know. But I am looking forward to seeing if there's going to be any results on that published. I will definitely cover that. Yeah, and last but not least, when it comes from people judging Holly for announcing that she was removed for the event, I disagree with them judging for that. I think that those are people who clearly are uninformed of the event industry. Whenever you announce that you're a part of an event and you're no longer part of it, it is industry standard to make those announcements. And so I don't like that people were acting like there was something wrong with doing that, because what the fuck? That's what you're supposed to do. Like, come on. You can't do false advertisement and act like you're going to be part of something you're not part of. Like, what? Anyway, and if you're gonna act like your co-host shouldn't have guest list spots, you can suck my fucking dick. So that definitely does show that they are novices in the industry. Which there's nothing wrong with being a novice in an industry. And the caption did not get that right, but I said novice. Because you have to start from somewhere. You have to learn from somewhere. We all are novices at one point. And I think it's good to want to get going, to get started. I encourage that. But yeah, I think because they are novices, though, that explains a lot of the mistakes that they are making, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just me. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this bitch up. I appreciate you for joining me today. Just a little ramble. I'm going to go diffuse my fucking hair and then run off to my meeting, man. I appreciate you guys. I might pop back on later today, but I'm supposed to babysit, so maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a great day, and bye. Thanks for watching. Join the loyalty program at noladeafchild.com/loyalty and check in during live streams to get points for rewards.